I'm 84 years old. My name is Michael. And there is a sound people never warn you about when you get this close to the end. It isn't the machines in hospitals or the creak in your bones when you stand up too fast. It's regret. It starts out as a whisper when you're younger, easy to drown out with work and noise and excuses. But now, in the quiet hours, it's loud. Louder than memory, louder than pride. It shows up when the house is still and the world assumes you're asleep. It reminds you of faces you didn't look at long enough, words you saved for later, time you treated like it was endless. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you because no one told me, and I wish they had. At my age, time doesn't stretch anymore. It folds in on itself. Days feel short, but the nights are long. I wake up before the sun without meaning to my body already tired of sleeping. There's a chair by the window where I sit most mornings. I watch the street wake up. People rushing, cars passing, lives moving forward without any idea who I am. That part surprises you when you get old, how invisible you become. I used to think I'd be remembered more, not in a grand way, just by someone. I don't tell this story to be understood. I tell it because it's heavy to carry alone. When I was younger, I believed in later. Later was a promise I made to everyone, including myself. I told my wife I'd be more present later when work slowed down. I told my kids we'd take that trip later when things were easier. I told myself I'd rest later, feel later, listen later. And every time it sounded reasonable, it wasn't a lie. That's the part that hurts. I truly believed it. In my 30s and 40s, life felt like a series of responsibilities stacked on top of each other. A job that needed me, bills that didn't wait, a reputation I was trying to build. I wasn't careless. I wasn't cruel. I showed up. I provided. I did what a man was supposed to do, at least according to the rules I'd been handed. And because nothing fell apart right away, I assumed I was doing it right. I didn't notice the small losses, missing a school play because a meeting ran late, ending conversations early because I was tired, nodding while my wife talked, already thinking about the next day. None of it felt dramatic. That's how it gets you. Regret doesn't announce itself. It accumulates. Now, when I look back, it isn't the big moments I wish I could change. It's the ordinary ones. The quiet evenings I traded for productivity. The silences I didn't break because it felt uncomfortable. I thought there would be time to circle back. There always is, until there isn't. I'm sitting here now, an old man with a full past and very little future, finally hearing everything I kept pushing aside. And the sound of it is hard to escape. If you want, you can stay with me a little longer. There's more I need to say. There was a moment I keep coming back to, not because it was dramatic, but because it was so small I didn't notice it at the time. My son was maybe 10. He stood in the doorway of my home office one evening, backpack still on waiting. I remember telling him, "Give me 5 minutes." I said it without looking up. 5 minutes turned into an hour. By the time I stepped out, he was gone. Dinner was over. The house had shifted into night. I don't remember what I was working on. I do remember the doorway being empty. That's how most of it happened. Not with arguments or slammed doors, just absence. Quiet substitutions. I replaced presence with intention. I thought wanting to be there counted for something. It doesn't. In my 40s, people started calling me dependable, reliable, solid. Those words felt good. They felt earned. I wore them like proof that my sacrifices mattered, When someone needed extra hours, I gave them. When there was pressure, I absorbed it. I told myself I was doing this for my family. And maybe in a way I was, but I was also doing it because it was easier than sitting still with the people I loved. Easier than listening when I didn't have answers. Easier than admitting I was tired and scared and unsure. My wife used to ask me how my day was. I'd give her a summary instead of a feeling. Numbers. Outcomes. She stopped asking after a while. I didn't notice when that happened. I thought silence meant peace. It doesn't. It means distance. The years passed without ceremony. Birthdays came and went. Anniversaries were marked, not felt. I remember thinking at 50 that I still had plenty of time to fix things. At 60, I thought the same. Time kept moving, but my assumptions stayed exactly where they were. Then came the phone call, not sudden, not unexpected. My wife had been tired for months. Tests, appointments, words spoken carefully by doctors who didn't want to say too much too soon. When they finally did, it felt unreal, like hearing about someone else's life. I told myself I would do better now. Be present, slow down. I meant it. I truly did. But habits don't loosen their grip just because time gets short. I was there physically. I sat in chairs. I held her hand. But I was still managing things, organizing, thinking ahead. Even then, I was preparing for a future that wasn't going to include her. She died on a quiet morning, no last speech, no grand exchange, just a look that said she knew I was trying. That look stays with me. After the funeral people checked in, then they didn't. That's another thing no one tells you, how quickly the world moves on once your grief becomes inconvenient. The house got quieter, too quiet, and that's when regret stopped whispering. If you're still listening, thank you. There's one more part of this I haven't said out loud yet. After she was gone, time changed shape again. The days felt long, but they slipped through me. I found myself reaching for the phone to tell her small things. A bird on the fence, a good cup of coffee, then I'd remember. And the moment would pass without being shared. Those are the losses that linger, not the big milestones, the ordinary exchanges that made life feel like something you were part of. My children visit when they can. They're kind, they're busy. I don't blame them. I taught them how to live like this. We sit at the table and talk about weather work plans. There's love there. I can feel it. But there's also a carefulness, like we're all aware of how much time we didn't practice being close. We're polite with each other. That's not the same thing. I spent a lot of afternoons remembering who I was certain I'd become. I thought success would soften everything else. That once the hard years were over, life would open up. But the hard years don't end. They just change names. And if you keep postponing what matters, you eventually run out of places to put it. Here's the part that's hardest to admit. Regret isn't just about what you did wrong. It's about what you convinced yourself didn't matter. I told myself emotions could wait. That connection would survive neglect. That people understood my absence because my intentions were good. Intentions don't sit at the dinner table. They don't answer the phone. They don't age with you. Now at 84, I understand something I didn't have language for back then. Life doesn't ask for balance later. It asks for attention now. Not perfect attention, just real attention. The kind that says, I'm here, and means it. I don't have much time left to make things right. Some things can't be repaired. I've accepted that. Acceptance doesn't feel like peace. It feels like honesty. I wake up each day knowing this is likely one of a limited number. That knowledge doesn't motivate me. It steadies me. If you're younger than me, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in instructions at this age. But I will tell you this as a man who thought he had plenty of time and was wrong. The things you keep for later don't wait quietly. They change. They fade. Sometimes they disappear. If this story means something to you, you can sit with it. You don't have to fix anything today. Just notice what you're trading away without realizing it. I wish I had. As for me, I'll keep sitting by the window in the mornings, watching the street wake up, listening to what's left of my life, and trying in the time I have to be present for it.